Hello and welcome to WQLN PBS Homeroom. I'm Miss Heather and this is my friend Twiggle, and I'm so glad you're here today. Today we're going to be talking about colors, and I love colors. I brought so many colors with us today, didn't I? I brought stuff for crafts and crayons and markers and paper and balls, and there's colors everywhere. And they make the world so beautiful. Look at this basket of crayons, Twiggle. What color is your favorite? Can you choose your favorite? He chose the color green. I'll bet you it's because it's the same color as you, isn't it? Isn't it a beautiful color? It is. I like green too, but you know what other color? I really love blue. Blue reminds me of the sky and the ocean, and I think it's pretty too, don't you? We are going to talk about colors today, but before we get into our lesson, oh, thank you, I'm going to read you guys a wonderful story. It's one of my very, very favorites. And here's a hint. Look at your friend came back, Twiggle. It's a Pete the Cat book. Oh, hi, you guys are friends. I forgot that you guys had already met. You are good friends. I'm going to put you guys down here. I'll actually move you so you can see the story, okay? And we are going to read the story called Pete the Cat, I Love My White Shoes. And it is written by Eric Litwin, and the illustrator is James Dean. Remember, the author writes the words and the illustrator draws the pictures. Are you ready? Pete the Cat, I Love My White Shoes. Pete the Cat was walking down the street in his brand new white shoes. Pete loved his white shoes so much that he sang this song. Are you ready? I love my white shoes. 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 Oh no. Pete stepped in a large pile of strawberries. Look at that large pile of strawberries. What color do you think Pete's shoes turned? What color do you think? If he stepped in a pile of strawberries, what color did his shoes turn? Look at red. They turned red, just like the strawberries. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. He kept walking along and singing his song. So now his shoes are red, so his song's gonna go like this. Ready? I love my red shoes. 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 Oh no, oh no. Pete stepped in a large pile of blueberries. What color did it turn his shoes? Okay, he just stepped in blueberries, so now his shoes are going to turn blue. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. He kept walking along and singing his song. Okay, so now his shoes are blue, so now he's gonna sing what song? I love my blue shoes. 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 Uh-oh, now what? Oh no! Pete stepped in a large puddle of mud. Look at, it's mud. What color did it turn his shoes? Okay, he stepped in mud. What color is mud? Let's see. Brown. Look at, now his shoes are brown because he stepped in mud. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. He kept walking along and singing his song. So now his shoes are brown. So now he's gonna sing what? I love my brown shoes. 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 He doesn't cry. Oh no. Pete stepped into a bucket of water. Look at him. All the brown, all the blue, and all the red were washed away. He washed his shoes. All the strawberries, the blueberries, and the mud are gone. What color were his shoes again? What were they at the beginning? Do you remember? White. But now they were wet. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. He kept walking along and singing his song. So what is he gonna sing now? Shoes are white, but they're wet. Oh no. I love my wet shoes. 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 The moral of Pete's story is no matter what you step in, keep walking along and singing your song because it's all good. He doesn't cry, does he? He just keeps singing his song. He didn't cry that his new shoes got red and then blue and then brown and then wet. Pete, you're a good guy, Pete. Oh, and look at, right now he has on one blue shoe and one red shoe. I am ready now for us to talk a little bit more about our story. I'm gonna go get things ready and I'll be right back. All right, I'm all ready. Look what I brought up. I have Pete the cat. I love my white shoes here on my screen. And I thought it would be really cool if we could try and remember how to retell the story, try and figure out what happens when he steps into some certain things like the strawberries, okay? And then we're gonna see if we can remember what all of the story is about and what it means. That is retell, and that means you're trying really hard to remember all the cool stuff that happened in this amazing book, okay? So here we go. We are going to start with this. Now, Pete the cat, the very first thing that he stepped in, well, first he had beautiful new white shoes, right? He loved them. But then, oh no, he stepped in a great big pile of what? He stepped in those strawberries first, okay? So you have to decide, did his shoes turn brown, red, white and wet, or blue? So what color are the strawberries? They're red. So that means that we have to move the red shoes with the strawberries. Okay, good. They are the same color. Now, what happened next in the story? Do you remember? After he stepped in the strawberries, then oh no, Pete stepped in a big pile of, do you remember? There was another kind of berry, a blueberry. So let's come over here. That's what happened next in the story. And we're going to move the blueberries next. So if you step in a pile of blueberries, what color would your shoes turn? This is what we have left. Brown, white and wet, or blue. If you step in a big pile of blueberries, your shoes are going to turn blue. Right there. Very good. So first he stepped in a pile of strawberries. Did Pete cry? Goodness no. He kept walking along and singing a song. I love my red shoes, remember? Then he stepped in a pile of blueberries and his shoes turned blue. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. He kept walking along and singing a song. I love my blue shoes, remember? So after the blue shoes, he stepped in what? Strawberries and blueberries. What did he step in next? He stepped in a big pile of mud. So let's move the mud next, because that's what happened next in the story. Remember? He stepped in the great big pile of mud. Miss Heather needs to turn her body so it will fit over here. That's what happened next. There's that mud. So if he stepped in the mud, what color shoes are they now? Are they clean and white and wet, or are they brown? What color is mud? Mud is brown. So we are going to move that over. That's what happened when he stepped in the mud. His shoes turned brown, right? But the last thing that he stepped in was a bucket of water. So let's move the bucket of water down here. That's what happens next. And what happened to his shoes? Remember, all the red, all the blue, and all the brown was washed away, and his shoes turned what color again? White. You're so smart. They turned white. So now they're white, but they are wet. So the same thing happened. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. He kept walking along and singing a song. I like my wet shoes, remember? So that is what happens in the story, and it's good to tell the story over again to make sure that you understood it, because you know what? When you read a good story like this, you gotta remember it and remember all the things that happened in the story. Now, what if I have an idea? I have a really good idea. What if we were the author and we pretended like he stepped in a big pile of bananas? What color would his shoes turn? Let's just pretend he steps in a big pile of bananas. His shoes would turn yellow, right? And then he'd say, I like my yellow shoes. I like my yellow shoes, right? What if Pete stepped in a big bucket of carrots? What color would Pete's shoes turn? If we were the author, that would be funny. What color would they turn? If he stepped in carrots, they would turn orange. I love my orange shoes. I love my orange shoes, right? What about this one? Broccoli. What if Pete stepped in a great big pile of broccoli? What color would his shoes turn? What color is broccoli? Do you see it? It would turn green. He would have green shoes, wouldn't he? That'd be so silly. Would he cry? Goodness, no. Now, what if he stepped in a big pile of blackberries? Blackberries. His shoes would turn black, right? They would turn black. But oh no, a big bucket of water came, and he stepped into that bucket of water, and all the yellow from the bananas, and all the orange from the carrots, and all the green from the broccoli, and all the black from the blackberries were washed away. What color would those shoes be again? You remember what they were at the very, very beginning of the story? White. Let's see if you're right. Yes, they were white, but they'd be wet, right? But they would be clean and they would be white. So that is really a cool way to retell a story. You can go over it again. You can try and figure it out and try to remember. And if you don't remember, look in the book and try and look at it and see if you can figure out the answers, because reading a book is wonderful, but comprehending it and remembering all the little details in it is even better. It's pretty cool. We are going to do an art project today that's also about retelling the story. I can't wait to do it, but I gotta go get my stuff ready. So give me a couple seconds, let me go get my stuff ready, and I will be right back. Hi guys, guess what? I got everything ready. This is going to be so much fun. We're going to retell the story with art. Doesn't that sound fun? I love art. It's my favorite time of the day at school. I think it's so fun. But remember, when you're an artist, you can do it however you want to. There's no right or wrong way. If I'm going to use paint today, but if you want to use crayons or markers, you can do whatever you want, because you know what? When you're an artist, there's no right or wrong way. That's what's so amazing. So today we're going to retell the story in art. So I have some red paint, because the very first thing that Pete the cat does was step in a great big pile of strawberries. So that's the red paint. Then Pete the cat steps in a big pile of, it's blue, blueberries. Good job, very good. And then the last one is brown. Why am I using brown? What did he step in that was brown? Mud. Good job, you guys are so smart. And of course, Miss Heather always loves to have some baby wipes, because I don't have a sink right here beside me. It's over on the other side of the room, and I want to be able to show you, so I brought baby wipes. If you don't have baby wipes, you can use a napkin or just use the sink, okay? So I folded my paper into 3 parts. I'm going to fold it up this way and this way, remember? And now I have 3 parts. If you want to just draw lines, you can do that too. And I'm going to hang it up because I like when you guys are able to see. So the very first thing that Pete stepped in was a big pile of strawberries. So watch what I'm going to do. If you make a fist like this, we are going to paint the side of Miss Heather's hand. I'll show you. We're going to paint it red, okay? I'm gonna pull this down for just a second. And on the top of my paper, I am going to do my other hand now. Remember, make a fist. I'm going to put red. These are gonna be feet. Wait till you see. I'll show you. You'll get it in here in a second. Look at. But guess what we're gonna do? I'm gonna put my finger in here. We're gonna make toes. Look at that! Isn't that great? So here we are. We stepped in a big pile of strawberries. What color do they turn? Red. That's so silly, isn't it? But we're remembering the story. It's another way of remembering and comprehending what happened in the story. My hands are a mess. Okay, next, after he steps in the big pile of strawberries, he steps in a pile of blueberries. So now we're gonna do the same thing. See, we're gonna paint the side of my hand. You can do the same thing. And now I'm gonna put 1 foot there, and I'm gonna paint the other hand for the other foot. So funny, it feels good too. It's cold. And I'm gonna put the other foot there. See? What does it need? It needs toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toes. 10 toes in all. All right, I gotta clean the blue off now. Let me clean it off. Now, Pete the cat steps in something that's brown. What does he step in? Mud. So I'm going to paint the side of my hand brown. So the bottom of the paper, that's what happens at the end of the story. He steps in mud. So I got the color brown. I'm gonna put the feet on there. Look at that. And now I'm gonna use my finger for toes. Help me count them, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Now, we retold the story of Pete the cat. Now, if you want to, you could use some white paint at the end, because at the end of the story, what did he step in? He stepped in a big bucket of water and washed all those off. But I don't have any white paint. Maybe you do, or maybe you could just trace your little hand or something. But this is also art, and you're retelling the story. We kind of made an illustration of what happened to Pete the cat. First, he stepped in strawberries, those are red. Then he stepped in blueberries, those are blue. And then he stepped in mud, those are brown. And guess what? We have our very own handprint art. I think that's pretty cool. And I hope that you get a chance to make it too. It's pretty fun. Hello guys, we had so much fun today, didn't we? What all did we do today? We read your story, Pete, about your new white shoes and all those things that you stepped in. You stepped in strawberries, and you stepped in blueberries, and you stepped in mud, and then you stepped in water and had wet shoes. That was quite the day, wasn't it? My goodness, that was quite the day. Then we worked on some stuff on the screen and tried to remember all the things that Pete did in the story and what color his shoes turned. And then we even pretended like we were the author and added some stuff. Remember, we added bananas and carrots and what else? Broccoli and blackberries. That was fun. That was really fun. But it's a wonderful way to retell a story, and I thought you guys did really great. Then we did the footprint art. That was fun. And we did the story again. We pretended like we stepped in strawberries and blueberries and mud, and it was so fun. It was so much fun, and I just loved having all this time together today. And you know what? Colors are such an amazing thing. We have colors in our class every single day. We talk about colors. That's what I love about preschool. We talk about colors every day, don't we? And we paint and we color, and you need to look around every day and just look at all of the beautiful colors, because there are so many all around us every day, isn't it? Yeah, and you are a very beautiful color green. And you are a very beautiful color blue. I had so much fun with you guys today. I hope you get a chance to do our art project, and I hope that you can look around and enjoy the colors that are all around you too, don't you? Yes, and you know what else I hope you keep doing? I hope that you keep reading, and I hope that you keep learning, and I hope that you keep watching WQLN PBS, where learning is brought to life. Until we see you again, bye!